Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is a behind the scenes video to talk to you about how I go about creating content, or how I come about the ideas for creating content, where I get the inspiration from, and how I do my research into what sorts of bits of content I should create. Now, I did a video previously talking about how I get the various bits of equipment that I do reviews on, mice, keyboards, headsets, microphones, other things like that. And the sort of logic that I apply once I get them. I usually do an unboxing video, a review video, maybe a tips and tricks video. I often try to produce multiple bits of content on a product that I get to maximize what I'm doing with it. And so in doing that, I usually base it on two bits of logic. One is if I'm looking at a product and it strikes me as familiar and similar to another one, then it makes a logical comparison. For example, one of my best performing videos is the Razer Basilisk Ultimate versus the Logitech G502 Lightspeed. I did that video based on a gut feeling. They looked very similar to me, they were similar in the hand, they had a very similar design makeup, which meant that they were logically comparable, and I figured that that content would be useful to anybody considering those mice. Also, they're on a sort of par in terms of the cost, and so they're very comparable and interesting in a number of different ways. And so I went about making that video, and then it went on to do very well. I've had a similar sort of logic in the Razer Viper Ultimate, which has recently arrived with me, and I've done an unboxing and review video on it. And I did a little bit of research into what people are looking at, and surprise, surprise, one of the other things that we're looking at is the G502 Lightspeed. So I've done a video to compare the two. Now, actually, they're not that similar in terms of sort of shape and overall design of them, so it's quite interesting to see that people are looking for that. And I wouldn't necessarily have done that based on a gut feeling. So what I'm going to do now is show you the tools that I would use and the techniques that I would use in order to research and look for what people are searching for. Obviously, a big part of doing well on YouTube is to create content that people are actually looking for. It's all very well creating content that's fun and awesome, but if nobody ever sees it because people aren't looking for it specifically, then it's going to be a real problem to try and grow your channel and to do well. And hopefully this video will be useful if you're considering creating your own content, or if you are a YouTuber who wants more ideas on how to find out what to create, what videos to produce. This might be an inspiration to you. So stick with me as I go into the various tools that I use and how I go about doing it. So the first course of action is to go to YouTube. This is a logical place in order to go and look and to see what people are searching for. So, for example, if I put Razer Viper Ultimate into here, and then you can already see there are some examples that have appeared within the search results. There's Razer Viper Ultimate versus G Pro Wireless, the G Pro X Superlight, Glorious Model O Wireless, Logitech G Pro, and then a DeathAdder V2 Pro as well. So there's already multiple different potential devices that I can compare it with. And I'm sitting here realizing that I haven't done these yet. I could potentially do the Superlight because I've done that. The Model O Wireless, I've done that. And I think maybe I've done the DeathAdder. Can't recall. But there's potential there for those. Now that's a really obvious one to do. There are other tools to look at though. I have another one, which apologies for the name of, because it's called Keyword Shitter. But this is actually a very useful tool. And the reason why is that when you type your terms in, so if I go into here and type Razer Viper Ultimate and press Start Job, it will then go through and it will crawl and find all the various terms. Now, these aren't exclusively on YouTube. This is actually at search level, at Google search level. So one of the things to bear in mind is that people will find your videos not only through YouTube search, but also through Google search. And you'll often find that a lot of traffic comes that way. So it's important to bear that in mind. You can go yourself to Google and do these sorts of searches. So you'll see if I go Razer Viper Ultimate versus, again, we have a lot of the same sort of results. You can see the G502 Lightspeed is in there, Model O Wireless, Glorious Model O, G903. So there's loads of potential videos. I could actually do like 5 of these probably. There's 5 more videos that I could potentially produce. So there's a lot of potential videos that could be produced in there. This keyword tool is useful because it's free, and also it makes it really easy to sort of find the things that people are searching for. So this has just churned out a lot of different terms that are related to the product that people are searching for. So it's not just about versus terms. There are potential things that could be covered in your review that you could talk about, or in a separate video all on themselves. You'll see, for example, there's one here that has been churned out, Razor Viper Ultimate Battery Replacement. And so you could potentially do a video on how to replace the battery on the Razor Viper Ultimate, if that's possible, if that's something to do. There's also one here on the charging dock not working. So if there's a possibility of finding a solution to the charging dock not working, if you can't get the dock to work, or if you know a way to do it, or you can Google and troubleshoot and look for the problems that people are having and come up with a video solution on that. Simple things like the dock not lighting up. Other simple things like how to check the battery life on it, how to charge it. Some of the things that you'll find in here are very straightforward and should be easy to create content on. And I think that's the important part, is not just creating something straightforward. So a review video on a mouse is a really obvious target for a production of content. And you'll find that what that means is a lot more competition for that. I tend to find actually that a lot of my review videos don't do very well. And it's not necessarily because they're not a good quality or that people aren't satisfied with them when they've watched them, but it could also be just because of the sheer amount of competition. There could be a lot of other YouTubers creating review videos on that mouse across the world in different languages. And so you have a lot of stiff competition. But I'm pretty confident that you will find that there aren't a great deal of people creating content around the dock not working, or how to charge it, or how to replace the battery on it. And even those versus videos to compare it with other mice, because not everyone's got access to all those different mice. And so there's potential to compare it with a lot more devices and talk about all the different ones that they could potentially do. And you can see just this tool has just churned out loads and loads of different search terms. And the other benefit of this is that you can use this for tags and for the description on the video that you do produce. So if you do produce a review, for example, and you go into depth on things like the weight of the mouse, the ambidextrous nature of it, the battery replacement, the battery indicator, charging time, the dock not working, how you get it to tell you how much battery life there is left, etc., etc. You can include all that information in the description and use it in tags, include it in the title, and then get more views on that video because you're answering questions that people are asking. Google's pretty intelligent about that. If you do things like add in timestamps that link to the specific question that you are answering in your video, then that will help Google to return those results and get you more traffic to your video as well. And so there's loads of different ways to not only find what content you can be producing, but optimize your content as well. So there's loads of potential there. Sometimes you might find there's too much to do. I've just seen all these different potential searches for this Razor Viper Ultimate. I'm thinking there's too many videos there. I've already got loads of other stuff to do, but there's a load of potential there that I could be creating, and it's worth considering. The other thing that is worth using is your audience. I've found, for example, there have been times where I've created content purely based on a request in the comments section on a video. And people come up with ideas or just requests, can you compare this device to this device? And sometimes it really pays off if you do it. I have an example in the terms of the Oculus Rift S versus the Oculus Quest 2, which was a video that I was planning on creating, but I'd sort of left to the side when the Quest 2 came out. I'd done a video comparing the Quest 2 with the original Quest, and I'd done an unboxing video on the Quest 2. But I also had a lot of other content that I wanted to produce around that time. And so I sort of set the versus video to the side versus the Rift S, and I didn't do it. A few days later, someone commented, why don't you do that? And I thought maybe I should revisit it. It would be fairly easy to put together. I can go into a great deal of depth about it and talk about my experiences with it. And I did it, and it's now one of my top performing videos of all time. And it continued to do well for quite a while. And I might not have done it if it wasn't for that comment nudging me into doing it. And so paying attention to your audience and what they're looking for can be really beneficial. And you have a variety of tools that you can do it with. So there's another tool here called Answer the Public, which unfortunately I can't demonstrate because you only have a limited number of searches per day in free mode. But what this does is it creates a really interesting number of searches split into different things, like who, why, where, then, that, and all those different sort of queries that people would make around a thing. And it's gathered from Google search data and from other sources to pull it all into one place. And although it doesn't give you data on how many searches are carried out on each term, it may well give inspiration on what people are looking for. And this can be a really rich and powerful tool for discovering new content ideas and sort of sparking ideas in what you're going to produce and create. And it's a really simple tool to use. It is limited on how many searches you can carry out a day, which is why I can't show you because unfortunately I've already used it twice today. But it's a really straightforward tool. You just go to answerthepublic.com, put in your search here, click search, and then it will come back with a multitude of results, and you'll just see loads of different inspiration. And so that obviously shows a variety of different things that you can do to come up with new content ideas on things to produce for your users. So there you'll see there are a multitude of ways to come up with content ideas, and you can see some of the examples of how I come up with the ideas for the content I create and why I produce so many different sorts of videos. I do find that the versus videos do really well, but tips and tricks videos also work really well, as do how-tos. And anything that might be a niche. So if you have a product and you find a problem with it and you work out the fix for that problem or a way to improve what's going on with it, then you can definitely make a video on that. And it's well worth doing, because if you're finding a frustration with something and you work out a fix for it that then makes other people's lives easier, they'll be so grateful to you. And the number of people that probably won't go to the effort of making that video, you'll be surprised how much traffic and how many views you'll get on that video, and thanks because of it. There's been all sorts of simple videos that I've done over time, good examples of that. One is, for example, installing an M2 NVMe drive. I have had the Samsung Evo 970 I did a video on a long time ago, and the installation process for those drives is dead simple. You basically take the drive, plug it into your motherboard, screw it down, go into Windows, go into the settings, and go into disk management, and it'll recognize the drive, and then you can format it and then use it. But what's simple to me might not be simple to other people. Some people get that drive, they've maybe bought a pre-built machine, so they've not built it themselves. They get the drive, they try and install it, they realize they haven't got a screw to screw it down with. The drive doesn't come with a screw. So a video on how you get the screws, where you get them from, something simple like that can be really beneficial. Then the process of setting up in Windows can also be beneficial. So I've done videos like that, simple step-by-step videos on how to install things, and they made a big difference to people, and they've been really grateful for it. That's just one example of many, many, many different potential ones. And it's really hard to come up with specific examples that might be useful to you. I don't want to give all the tricks away, but hopefully this has been an interesting insight to what I create. If you're interested in seeing videos in the future from me and want to know more about either how I'm making content or just want to see me compare different things, whether it's different mice, comparing them, let me know in the comments. If you've seen me do a video on one mouse and you want to know what it's like compared to another one, I'll try my best to do it. Unfortunately, sometimes people ask me to compare stuff like a headset I have seen with one I haven't, and it's not always possible to do that because I don't necessarily have the contacts with those other brands. And so, like, Beyerdynamic is one that people have asked me to do. I don't have access to those. I don't get any products from them, so I can't compare headsets with those brands without buying them. And I don't have loads of money, so I'm not able to do that at this point. But I try to sort of cover off as much as I can. So if you do have some ideas for what you'd like to see in future, please feel free to let me know. Hopefully you found this video an interesting insight into what I do, and be sure to check out the link to the behind the scenes playlist. If you've not watched some of the other videos in this playlist, hopefully you'll find them entertaining and an interesting look into the life of a YouTube creator. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I'd like to give a quick shout out to my very special YouTube members, and you can see their names in the description. But also, most importantly, I want to give a big thanks to Beaster Bunny, who's been a big help to me lately. She's been helping edit some of my videos down. It's allowed me to create a lot more content over the last few weeks, and she's been a real big help, so I really appreciate her. and anyone else that's clicked that join button, and all you people that watch these behind the scenes videos, because I know you appreciate what I do. So thanks for watching. So there's another one as well, which is called Answer the Public. This is another free tool, although if you use it too much, you do have to pay. But just for an example, you can go into here, and again, I'm going to put the Razor Viper Ultimate in. Okay. Damn it. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise. Take a look at these other videos that I think you might find interesting as well. And have a look at the description for links and other information you might find useful. Click that join button to see the benefits of being a member of my YouTube channel. And most importantly, have a great life.